Hey guys, Gather Magic back again, and it's time for part 2 of the Card Market Watch for March 15th, 2026. So this is our card deep dive. So as you guys know, we're going to do a deep dive in every set from Alpha all the way up to Escalation. So let's get started, of course, with Alpha. So these are your Alpha commons. You can see here the cheapest is 24 cents. Look at how low some of the liquidity is on some of these commons. 6, 8, 7. So these are all of the 20 common cards. Next, let's move on to the rares. So rares are very close, getting to that $1.50, $2 range for the floor. As you can see here, that top row are the only cards under $2 now. So 20 rares in the set. Most expensive currently is Medusa at $3.45. And once again, look at how few of any of these Alpha cards are on the market. Next for the epics. So all 10 of the epics are represented here, ranging from $6 up to $18.99. And then finally for your legendary cards, there are 9 legendaries in the set. They're all represented here. So you can see only just a handful of any of these cards on the market. $29.99 for Angel of Light is the cheapest, up to a Spirit of the Forest for $841. This is a max level, and this is the only one on the market. So that's it for the regular foil Alpha cards. Now for the golds. So the floor has moved up to $19. So you guys know over the last couple of months, there's been some cards, I think as cheap as like $9, sometimes in the $11, $13, $14 range. Currently, those are all scooped up, and $19 is now the cheapest. Beautiful cards, all the way up to Minotaur Warrior at $165. Look at 1, 2, 3, 4 of a couple of them. So there's 5, 6 of the Crustacean King, and 6 of the Divine Healer. That's the most commons. Moving to the rares, you can see now there are 20 rares in the set. There's only 10 of the 20 that are even listed on the marketplace. And look at this, anywhere from 3 down to 1 copy. That's it. So you've got $30 for the Earth Elemental, all the way up to $9.99 for Peacebringer. So to me, this is the card that is extremely undervalued. You've got Ulrich, which is probably by far the best Archon, +1 magic. And he is one of the cheapest ones there. If you look at the other Archons, there's only one other Archon and it's $9.50. So to me, just my personal feeling is that is extremely undervalued. Before we move to epics, I'm just curious, how many are in circulation? Only 134 of that card. Okay, let's move on to epics. So now out of the 10 epics, only 2 are listed. Mischievous Mermaid for 115, 3 on the market. Naga Warrior, 120, only 2 on the market. And that is it for Alpha Epics Gold Foil. And then finally, your gold legendaries currently, you've got Angel of Light, 1 on the market for $1,500. Lord of Darkness, 2 on the market, $1,500. Spirit of the Forest, only 1 on the market for $29.95, and 1 Selenia Sky Archon for $4,500. And there's only 22 gold foil Selenia Skies in circulation. Another reason, guys, why I'm so big on, I know it's hard to do, I know it's hard to have packs and not open them, but just long term, I think that those are going to be fantastic holds, any alpha and beta packs, especially at the prices they're at now, if you saw those in part 1 of the Market Watch. Okay, the promo cards, went through this in part 1. The only promos available for alpha are the common and rares. So the regular foil common is $370. The rare is $350. Common gold foil, $99.99, and the rare gold foil is at $299. And that is it for alpha. Next, let's look at beta, the core and reward cards. Regular foil, starting with the commons. You can see here, 5-6 cents is the floor. And even for beta, look at how few cards there are on the market for commons. Now, some of them, like this one, Cube is over 100. I think the Cube is a reward card. Yep, the Cube's a reward card. So there's going to be more of those total in circulation. But for commons, there's not a whole lot. And I know a lot of people are looking towards beta for land. Silver Shield Warrior is the most expensive at 93 cents. Let's look next at the rares. So your rares start at 23-25 cents are your cheapest beta rares. And once again, if you're looking to level these up, there's just not very many on the marketplace. So when we get that influx of hundreds and hundreds of players, few thousand players, it's like if they want to play in Wild, these prices are just going to go absolutely nuts. So Alric, 250 is the most expensive. There's only 11 on the market. Are there any max copies? So you've got one max copy. You've got 3 level 6, a level 5, 3 silver level 4, and then just a couple of individual ones. That's it. So that is it for the rares. Next for the epics. Epics start at 69.70 cents. Once again, only a handful of these on the market. If I wasn't pulled in 6 different directions from Splinterlands, I would love to just go back to all these old sets. Like I have one of each of the alpha commons, and then just pick up one of each card. You know, I don't need to max them out, but at least like the commons, rares, maybe the epics, just to get one of each, just to have. At some point, I feel they're going to do an achievement system, and they're going to have things like that. Like if you have just like one of each common from a certain set, or a complete, you know, one of every card from beta, you know, that type of thing. I can see them doing that in the distant future. Okay, so for the rare or the legendary cards, start at $5 for the Kraken. All the way up to, this was a surprising card to me, Sacred Unicorn is the high card at $57.41. That is for an individual copy. There is a max level copy for 127, so you're looking at about $11.50 per card. That's more reasonable. This card at 57 a piece kind of just throws off, you know, you're like, why is that a $57 card? No, it really should be, you know, somewhere right in the middle of the pack. So Voldemort's at 49, Prince Ren's at 18.50, Cryptmancer up to 40, Lord of Darkness is at 12. So those are some of the key cards in the set. Don't forget Selenia Sky, Dragon Summoner sitting there at only $8.10. How many max copies are on the market? There are 3 max copies on the market. As cheap as $73.70. So you're looking anywhere from $6.50 to about $8 per card on average. All right, now let's look at the gold foils from beta. So I love the gold foils in this set. Alpha and beta, they are just so awesome to look at. I mean, there is no doubt that those cards are gold, unlike the newer frames where it's kind of hard to tell on some of them. So these are the commons from beta, gold foil starting at $257 and up. All the way up to Skeleton Assassin at $750. Another reason I like the older foils for the gold foils, they start at level 4 instead of level 3. Do they take the same amount to max out? Yep, they still take 38 to max them out, but they just start at a higher level. So you only need 2 of them basically to get a max silver deck instead of 4 or 5, so that's a lot better. Okay, so those are your commons. Next are the rares. So Silver Shield Assassin, awesome card. I'm surprised that's the cheapest at $9. And then the chicken at $9.48. I remember when a regular foil chicken was $20 back in the day. And then you've got $180 for Prismatic Energy. What? I was like, oh, that's probably a max level. No, for an individual card. So once again, as cards dry up off the market and very, very few get listed, you can name your price. Doesn't mean it's going to sell for that price, but it just shows how thin the market is on these older cards. Okay, next we have epics. Once again, very few of these on the market, individual copies for most of them, starting at $29 up to $185 for the Magi Sphinx. And then finally your gold legendary cards from beta. Sacred Unicorn is the cheapest at $200. Some of the key cards: Lord of Darkness, $5.99, only one on the market. Hydra, $5.99, only one on the market. One Frost Giant for $9.75. One Peak Rider for $1,200. One Voldemort for $15. One Prince Renan for $15. One Fallen Spectre for $2,000. Okay, so that's it for core and reward for beta. So let's look now at the beta promo cards. Let's just look at regular foil to start. Went through all the prices in part 1, but just to give you an idea of how many are actually on the market, so we can kind of have this as a visual record. Delwyn, 22 cents, 29 on the market. Bowman, 31 cents, 29 on the market. Fiendish Harpy Epic, 266, 22 on the market. Red Dragon, 78.44, 9 on the market. How many are max level? So there are 4 of them max level. You're looking at $31 a card there. So yeah, definitely don't pay $78 for an individual copy. So get a higher level one and you'll get it for about half price. And then finally, the 2 rarest of the rare, Archmage Arius. There's 2 on the market, both for about $420. Of course, it's automatically a max level card. Only 87 in circulation. And Prince Julian, $500, max level card, only 83 in circulation. Okay, and then your gold versions. The rare is actually cheaper than the common by a few cents, $11.63, 6 on the market. Delwyn, the common, 4 on the market at $11.99, and then Red Dragon, the only one on the market, for $200. Okay, let's go to Orb. Love doing Orb. Orb is such a tiny set. Like, this is the entire set right here on the screen. This is Orb, 12 cards. So yes, if you buy a pack of Orb and open it, you are going to probably get 2 of the same common. I don't know if you can probably technically get 3 of the same common. Don't know if it's ever happened, but I have seen a few openings where people have gotten double commons. So your commons go from 5 to 8 cents. You can see a decent amount of those on the market. Your 3 rare cards, 22, 24, and 35 cents. Your 2 epic cards, the Wizard at $1, 10 on the market. Mermaid Healer, $1.50, 21 on the market. And then your 3 legendary cards, Lord of Fire at $5.70, Corrupted Pegasus, $6.73, and Minotaur Warlord at $7.50. And then your gold variants, 4 commons here, your 3 rares, ranging from $9.79 to $185. This is not a max copy. This is only 1 card. Do not pay $185 for that card. And then only 1 of the legendary cards, as I mentioned in part 1, $299 for the Minotaur Warlord. So that is it for the beta tab. Okay, next we have core and reward cards from Untamed. Of course, starting at a penny. So if you can get these at a decent price, under 2 cents, remember when you guys go to burn these for Cinder, I believe they get twice what Chaos Legion does. So if you can get them for like a penny and a half or less, it might be worth it to pick some of these up. If you are looking to pick up Cinder, there are the 2 craftable land cards that will be coming out, I believe, end of March, early April. They're going to take Cinder, and one of them takes Stone, and the other one takes Iron. So if you need some good options for Cinder, of course, there's always Chaos Legion, but then don't forget about Untamed. So you've got penny, 2 penny for the floor. Most expensive currently is Maggots at 40 cents for Untamed. Next for the rares, rares start 5 to 6 cents for the rares. Then we will see how many are on sale or in the marketplace currently. So for some of the archons, there's not very many. Now that survival is up, I'm expecting those to dry up, and it looks like they have. So Shield Bearer at 89 cents is the most expensive. Let's just look at the rare archons. 8 cents to 29 cents. Very good price. And you're like, hey, but I don't want a level 1. I want to, have these leveled up for survival. Well, you're in luck. You can get a total of Let's see how many max level copies there are. There are a few. So you've got 1, 5, 10, 15, 17. There's 24 total max level archons available for Untamed for the rare slot. So 1025 for a max archon is not bad, all the way up to 2276 for Mortis. Okay, let's move on to epics. Epics start at 22 cents. All the way to $1.12 for the Headhunter. And then finally your legendaries. $1.75 for, was that Billa the Radiant? All the way up to some of the key cards we talked about in part 1. Kitty, $48.99. Jotun's up to $35. $35 for individual copies, but you can get a level 2, which will be good for silver, for $43.64. You'll notice here there are no max Jotuns on the market. So there's 2 gold level 1s for just over 100. So very low liquidity here. I still think Untamed packs are extremely underpriced at under $4. You can pull some really good cards out of Untamed, and you can see here the liquidity on these is low. So those are your Untamed legendary cards. So now let's look at the gold cards. Gold common starting right around 50 cents for the floor. Once again, with these older sets, very easy to tell the gold cards. All the way up to Failed Summoner, $2.25. And this is the first set where they start commons at level 3 as opposed to level 4 for the main set. Rares start at $2.30, $2.37. All the way up to $13.99 for the Death Elemental. And just for fun, let's look at the Archons. So Archons $2.39 to $9.80. I doubt there's any max level, but let's take a look. Are there any max level golds? 1. So you can get a gold Pyre for $100 max level. Only one on the market. So you're looking at about $4.50 a card. Okay, next let's look at the epics. So now they start getting a little pricey. Now you're in the $11.50 to $12 range for a gold epic. All the way up to $70 for Soulstorm. And then your legendary cards. So Mimosa, oh, an Archon. Really? A legendary Archon is the cheapest? $85. Why does that seem way too cheap? Oh, it's for an individual card. So there's a max level one. Well, even the max level, you're looking at $100 a card. That is tempting. So some of the key cards. Kitty, that was $2,000 a couple weeks ago, $425. The Llama, that was under $100. I could not believe that card was that cheap. I'm pretty sure that card sold, and then maybe the guy sold it and he's the one that relisting it for $450. Jotun at $800, and then Kron at $999. How many of these are in circulation? 120 Krons. I miss having the circulation on the front of the card, or on the front of the market. Only 90 gold Jotuns. Wow, how many gold kitties are there? 69. Okay, guys, there are only 69 gold kitties in existence, and packs are under $4. Okay, we'll see how that lasts. So that's Untamed. Let's go to promo. So let's look at the regular foils. Now, I mentioned in part 1, I noticed a huge jump in price on Halfling Alchemist. This card was under 80 cents. So all of a sudden, all the cheap ones have been bought out. There are only 5 individual copies, $3, $4, and $5. There is a level 2 at about $1.50 a piece, And then there is a level 4, which is still not max, for $1.50 a piece. So if you wanted all of these, you're still not going to have enough to get a max level card. One. So buy out on the Alchemist. Chain Golem, $7.95. So Chain Golem being a legendary, there are 2 max copies here. So you can get a max copy for $28. Not bad. And you can see the individual copies here for $11.36. So this card has jumped up too. You can see right here, $7.95. But that's because it's a level 2. Okay, this one is a steal then. $7.95 for a level 2, about $2.60, and then yeah, you don't want to pay $11 for one card. So a couple good prices here, and especially if you want to get that max copy for only $28. And then finally the Mighty Dricken, max level, $226. You can see 6 on the marketplace. And then for your gold foil version, Alchemist, $28.36, 2 on the market. Chain Golem, $145, 2 on the market. Okay, and then dice. So these are the commons, 1 to 26 cents. Not very many on the market. Rares, which are your archons, range from 10 cents up to 95 cents for Lorna. How many max level archons are there? Well, there's at least one of each. I am really surprised. So look at this, guys. A max level Vera for $10. So if you need a card for survival, just to get a max level Archon, $10 right there. And then one for 12 and one for 15. I think those are all good deals. Quid, $10, $16. Ouster, 18, only one on the market. Bright and Bloom, there are 5 on the market, ranging from 50 all the way up to 95. Mylor, look at that, $53 and it jumps to 100 and then 115. And then Lorna Shine, $61.90, 80 and 80. Of course, she's the king because of Divine Shield. Survival, you want to protect your cards as much as you can, so she is the key card of all these archons. I almost said icons. She is an icon. Okay, so that's the regular foil for rares. So your epics, there's only 3 in the set. You can see the circulating numbers on the market here. And then finally your legendary cards range from $2.90 from the Lens Master up to Epona for only $9.95, and Crowless, there's only 7 starting at $8.07. How many Crowlesses are there maxed? 1. You're looking at $10 a card. So the best deal by card would be the level 3 at about just under $7.70. And then Epona, how many max level cards are there? So there's 2 max level right at about $85 or $7.70 a card. This is just such a fantastic card for 1 mana. Look at this. Strengthen, Divine Shield, Immunity, and Repair for 1 mana. Arguably one of the best cards in the game. Even with all the overpowered cards now, she still stands up. Okay, and let's look at gold commons. So those go from 52 cents to $1. Your gold rares, which are your archons, $2.68 to $19.99. Epics, $14.44 to $28.80. And your legendary cards, only a handful. So only 5 of these are available for sale. $80 up to $500 for Poseidon. Okay, so that's it for Untamed. Now, everyone's favorite. Let's get to Chaos Legion. Dun dun dun. Okay, so you've got 1 penny. What? Only a penny? What a deal. All the way to 4 cents for the Scavo Hireling. I think some people might actually be using the regular foils for land, even though they only give you, 1,000 points. So you're looking at a little over $2 a card, $2.20 to say $2.50 for a regular foil. And there's a decent amount of them. Okay, so your rares, of course, start at 2 cents and go all the way up to your archons, which are only 6 to 15 cents. How many max levels are there? Because I'm really curious about the archons. So look at this. Even the rares are barely above the commons. The commons were like 220 to 250 for a max, and now for these it's like 250 to probably 3 for max level rares. And then how many archons are there max level? There's not very many. I mean, as overproduced as Chaos Legion is, you're looking at 11 is the most for a max level copy. Wow, only 7 max Kellias. Only 9 General Sloans for just over $5. So yeah, if you need cards for survival, archons, you guys can pick these up because there's not very many left. Surprising. I thought there'd be like 30, 40 max of each at least because of just the print run of Chaos Legion. Okay, so 9 to 10 cents for your epics. All the way up to this week, Wave Brood is the most expensive at 22 cents. How many max level epics are we talking about? Under 10. Under 10, a lot of them under 5 for epics. So you're looking at basically just under $5, $5 to $6 for a max epic. And that gets you, what is it, 1,250 points? I think it is for a max level for land. Okay, and then next is Legendary. Legendary is back above 53 cents is the floor. So for a while we were at, what, 46, 47 cents. So 53 cents and up. So the floor has definitely moved up. And then on the archons, you can see here, you know, a couple of them are still under 2, but now you've got a couple like $3, $4 for some of these. So these are starting to slightly dry up. As you can see, what, 20 some of each of these on the market, 43 quicks. And then for land, you get what, 1,500 points to have a max card, under $6. So 1,500 points get you, yeah, 1,500 points for about $6, and I think for a gold common, you get 2,000 points, and I think those were around 6 for the floor. So that's why I go for the gold commons. Okay, let's look at the archons. So how many archons are there? 8, 9, 15, 10, 6, 5, 8. So not a whole lot of max archons. 10 to $20 for a legendary archon. I need to open some more chaos packs, that's for sure. Okay. Let's go to all levels. Now let's check out my favorite, the gold card. So the gold card, ooh, there's one under 17 cents. So this is dropped from part 1. So you got 15 cents for the Radiated Brute, all the way to 52 cents for the Scavo Hireling. Now the question is, how many max gold commons are there? Yep, so as you guys can see, just over $6, you can get 2,000 points, or you can spend $6 and get 1,500 for a legendary. So a lot of these are in the $7 range now. So we'll just say $7 is the floor. Yeah, you can get a lot of these. Between 7 and 8 is a majority of them. So you'll be able to cover whatever splinter you need to for $7 to $8. But how many are available? Now you've got 13 of the Mercenary, you've got 12 of the Deceiver, 14 of the Conjurer, but just the core set. So if we just take this off and look at the core cards, there's not a whole lot of max commons. So all you guys that are working land, we've been pulling these things out, buying these gold commons. So I still need more for my land, so slowly trying to get there. Okay, now let's move on to the gold rares. So gold rares, this one's 65 cents, but then other than that, you're looking at 70 cents and up for a gold rare. You know, you're in the teens, 20s, maybe 30s for some of these. You know, a couple of these that are short printed, There are not many on the market. You can see around 4, but for the most part, you're looking at 70 cents to $1.70 for a gold rare. Let's look at the archons. Gold archon, man. Remember when Kelly was like $3-4 for a regular foil? Now it's $1.50 for a gold. Okay, how many max level gold archons are there? Not many. There's no max general Sloans on the market. That got me all choked up. Poor General Sloan. So $23.70 for Tarsa up to $35.99 for Kelia. With all the massive oversupply of Chaos Legion, you've got 9 max archons. That's it. 9. Okay, now my favorite, the epics. Gold epics starting. It's as consistent as clockwork. $3.50 to usually $5 is the range, and there it is, $3.50 to $4.89 for a gold epic. So very consistent over the last few months. And then for a max level card, anywhere from $36 to $50. Once again, you're in that $3.50 to $5 per card range. And if you guys remember from a couple months ago, there was a point where max level, there was only like 3 or 4 different cards. So we've got a little bit more variety now, but look, 1, 2, 3 of these. So there's not a lot. So if you've been waiting to get some higher production for your land and you want to go for, these will give you 6,000 points, and then that extra 10% if it's on the correct terrain type. So 6,600 points for, 35 to $50. There's not very many. Okay, and then your legendary gold start right at $25 is the floor. 25 even. All the way up to 108 for Is of the Fanged, 103 for Grum. Let's look at how many max level cards. And the list got way shorter. So 103 to, let's say 150 for a max gold. So yep, 100 to $150 for max gold. And once again, 1 or 2. That's it. You got 3 of Conqueror Yasik. Other than that, you're looking at 1 or 2 copies. Not very many gold. I think Vugtus made a huge purchase of golds. And then let's look at gold legendaries. So $27.36 to $49. Max level gold archon, $129 to $150. Okay, so that's it for the Corn reward. So let's look at the Soulbound cards. Regular foil. Commons, 4 to 15 cents. Your rares, 25 cents to 74. I'm surprised this is the most expensive, probably because it's the only one on the market. Because usually I would think that these archons would be the most expensive one, and then along with the muskrat. I call him the muskrat. He's a Mark's rat. Epics, 97 cents to 614. The death one is missing. And then legendaries, 565 up to 99.90 for Tracious Hulk. I think the reason this is so expensive, it's the only one on the market, and you can see only 80 of these were unbound. No one liked this card, so there's not very many unbound on the market. Okay, and then if we go for the gold foil versions, 93 cents to 390 for the Fungus Flinger. 370 to 65.90 for your rares. And once again, you can see not very many of these were unbound and put on the market. Your epics, $20 to $49.95. 1, 2, 3 copies only on the market. Legendaries, Kulu, surprisingly, is the cheapest, $69 up to $199.95 for Skok. 1, 2, 4 copies here. And let's look next at the promo cards. So, went through the prices in part 1. The key card that I wanted to take a look at is Lux Vega. A couple of them under $100. Like I said earlier today, there was one very briefly, like it was either 76 or 78. And I was like, wow, Lux Vega under 80. And then as soon as I clicked on it, it wasn't on the list. So that one got bought up pretty quickly. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is the fact that I've never seen Lux Vega under $500, and it's at 420. So if there's anybody out there with the funds that would love a beautiful, very rare card, there's only 63 on the market for 420. That's the cheapest I've seen it, and there's only another one up currently at 1,000. And then you've got Waka at 800. So those are your promo cards. Okay, so we went through that. Let's go through Rift Watchers next. I just did a Rift Watchers pack opening a few days ago. Ended up getting a legendary out of 10 packs, so I was happy with that. So 1 cent to 6 cents for the commons. Rares 4 to 17 cents. Just some great, just overall, I love the rares in this set. Your epics, which are your archons, 12 cents for Dallin. Dallin can't get any love. Up to $1.04 for Fernheart. And then finally for legendary, oh, there is one listed. Earlier when I did part 1, there was not an inevitable on the marketplace. So currently 74 cents for Rune Master, 543 for C-Rec. He was the most expensive. This is newly listed. I'm curious if this is one. Okay, so this is a max level card, max level inevitable for $14.54 a card. So we'll go for that for the base card price. $14.50 is about right. So there's only one on the market, and it's max level. Then for your gold versions, 21 cents to 57 cents for a common. 79 cents to 4.19 for your rares. Epics, which are your archons, 3.90 to 10. Is there any max level ones? 4 of them. So $40 to $69 for a max archon. And once again, very few, 1 or 2 of each. And then finally your gold legendaries, $27.25 up to $200. And inevitable being the key card in the set, I am surprised it's under $50 compared to the price of the other ones. These I think are overpriced. This I think is underpriced based on past history. Okay, so that is it for Rift Watchers. Do we do foundations next? Yeah, let's get foundations over with. You guys know there's nothing going on with most of the set. It's all about the extra cards. So the only thing to really look for in foundations is the rares, and it's like, what are the archons down to? They're cheap now. Look at this, 3 to 8 cents for an archon. So this is a fantastic time to pick these things up. And as far as I know, okay, correct me in the comments if I am wrong. You can use these in survival, right? So why are there any of these on the market? 3 to 8 cents. Buy all of them and use them in survival. Why are there, especially this one, the magic one? Look at, okay. I want to play in survival, and like I said, I'm assuming you can use these in survival. I'm going to buy all of them. 62 cards, $8.30. It takes, what, 25 to max one out? So you've got 2.5 max copies of this card for just over $8. Incessant Sage. Buy them all. You've got 1.5 max copies. Once again, $8, only because of this card. Take that one out. You've got 1.5 max copies for $7. Yeah, I'm just blown away that if survival is active, and these are, does it say can they be used in survival? Now I'm curious. It says disable a survival card. You can use it. Wait a minute. You can use this in survival? Yeah, okay. I am surprised, guys. Explain to me in the comments why every one of these archons is not bought off the market. Because the main thing is that's going to limit you in survival is the number of archons you have. Once you lose an archon, that really hurts. Even if these aren't the best at this price. Yeah, I'm just, okay, we're not going to talk about that anymore. These should all be gone. And if people don't buy them, I think I might end up buying them and putting them up for rent. Okay, epics. Oh, epics 1 to 12 cents. And legendaries 3 cents to 42 cents for the Mystic Scale Weaver. Gold foil versions, remember you can use these in modern or in wild, and the gold will give you a 10% bonus. So even if they're not the greatest cards, if you're playing in bronze, in modern, or in wild, you will get that 10% glint bonus. So there are the commons, rares, 6 cents, up the archons are 50 cents to $1.13. See, I can understand why these aren't bought out. You know, $1 a piece, and you need, what, 4 of them? But still, even that, you're looking at $4 to $5 to have a max archon. I don't know. Of course, the other way, you're looking at what, 50 cents? Okay, epics, 29 cents to $4 for Saltwater Mage. And your legendary, some of these have kind of spiked in price a little bit. Like it always was, Mystic Scale Weaver was number 1, Musketeer was number 2, and then these two are kind of afterthoughts. Now you've got the Guardian at $11.88. Up to, look at this, people asking 33 bucks. And the Root, 15 to 28. And look, there's only 122 of them, so yes, there's a ton of foundation cards out there, but there's not that many gold legendaries out there. Kind of surprising. Okay, so now we can look at the different foil versions. So let's look at the black commons, starting at $2.90 up to $7.50. The rares, $4.40 up to $160. Your epics, $6 to $45. Dude, if I could get 45, I can't remember if Nam Gib or Gedfer has that. If I could sell that for $45 in my $10 account, I would do that and buy another piece of land. And legendaries, 75 to 555 for the black foil. Okay, so now your gold arcane, your commons, huge range, $5.99 to $100. Your rares, $11.80 to $59. Epics, just under 47 to 70. And there's no gold legendaries. And then your black arcane, some of the commons, 15 to just under 88. Your rares, $30 to 150, only single copies of those 3. Your epics, beautiful card. Look at that Saltwater Mage. That is just the black and the blue and the purple. That is just an awesome looking card, $69. And then there are no gold or black arcane legendary cards. Okay, but yeah, the cards that everybody wants, and I've been, trying to get these as well. I've been playing a lot of Frontier on my alt accounts. These things are so hard to pull. So hard to pull. I think on my 3 accounts, one of my $10 accounts has pulled 3 of this. I've never pulled these 2 on either account, and then my main account pulled 1 of the legendary. And that is it. So to try to get, 60 copies of this to max it out, 25, 10, yeah, good luck. Gold versions, you see the prices here, $100. How many of these have been pulled? Only 4 gold Eris in circulation. And then black foil, $13.50 for the common, $120 for the rare. Gold arcane common for $29.99. And then there are no black arcane on the market for foundation. Okay, so that's it for the foundation tab. So now let's go to Rebellion. Just look at the core Rebellion set. So 1 cent up to $1 for the Chaos Animator. Why is this card $1? Yeah, I was going to say it should be 5 to 10 cents. So there's 1 individual copy for $1. And then other than that, there's level 3s for about 8 cents a copy. I don't know. Yeah. So this card is really skewed in price. It should be a 5 to 10 cent card. Okay, next for the rares. So starting at 4 to 5 cents. It'll be interesting to see what the commons and rares do in price, because these are still available in the starter packs. So people can start, still get those, trying to get some of the, oh, I'm thinking Conclave Arcana. Nope, not for Rebellion. So for Rebellion, the most expensive rare, $1.34 for the Soothsayer. I wonder if they're going to do that going forward. Every main set is going to have starter packs, so you can always get commons and rares until the next set comes out. I like that idea. So 19 cents for the cheapest epic, up to $1.40 for Captain Fellblade. And then your legendaries, starting at only $1.20. We went through the prices on some of the key cards in part 1. Of course, these cards are drifting lower as they're getting closer and closer to rotating out. Nidhogger was 30. Why are you now 94.15? It's because the individual cards were bought out. But still, look, per card you're looking at about $15.60. That's about right for Nidhogger. He should be right in that $15 range. But like Venka, that's been a $20 card for the longest time. And look at the prices now. Now, if you get a max copy, you can get a max copy for just under 90 bucks. So just over $8 a card. So if you guys ever wanted to have a max Venka, you can get one for just over 90 bucks. And then Tofu. Tofu's in the mid-20s. I think pretty soon this will be a $19.99 card. Of course, as this gets closer and closer to rotation. So there are 4 max copies, just over $250. 3 of them in the gold range for about $150. And then Lorcus, individual cards for $39.40, but if you want a max level 1, you're looking at just under 19 a copy, just over 200 bucks for a Lorcus. Okay, so let's go now to the gold commons. Gold commons start 29.30 cents, all the way to 5.19. And 80 cents for the rare, all the way up to 8.64. You know what I need to do? Let's take a look at the archons, the common archons from Rebellion. How many max copies are there? That's it. Under 10 for all of them. So you're looking anywhere from, say, $43 to $70, $74 for a max level dual summoner, dual archon. So not a whole lot out there. And then if we look at the gold version, you're looking at $3 to $5 a card. So now you're looking at basically 75 to 100 bucks for a max gold. And once again, not very many available. Okay. So let's look now at the gold. Okay, we looked at the gold rares. So let's look at the archons. How many max archons are there for Rebellion? 10, 2, only 2 Nomos. 14, 7, 8. So you're looking at 15 to 25 bucks. That seems cheap for a max level. I think that's pretty good. And let's look now at the gold versions. 43 to 70. 1 to 3 copies of those available. All right. So now let's look at the gold epics. 323 to 860. And your legendary cards start at 24. Went through the key gold legendaries in part 1. Just want to show you guys how many are on the market. So once again, just a handful. I think all of them are under 10. I think the most I saw of any of these was 8 copies. So there are not a lot of these gold legendaries on the market. And overall, I think they're right around 120-ish, between 100 and 120. Tofu, there's only 91 gold Tofus. So you can just kind of randomly pick. There's usually around 100. I think 120 was like the most I saw So there's not a lot of these. There's 120. There's not a lot of these in circulation. So once again, Rebellion packs at even 225 might be a good long-term hold for in the future when the game gets more rule sets, and you know, when you can play these in other formats other than just Wild and Modern. You know, you'll have like a Rebellion rule set, or you know, different mixes of sets that you'll be able to play in different formats. I'm sure as the team moves forward, they're going to have more uses for some of these gold foil legendary cards. Okay, so that is it for Rebellion Core. Let's look at the reward cards. So 3 to 9 cents for your commons, 14 to 47 cents for the rares, $1.19 to $2.29 for your epics. Oh, I love that card. You are such a beautiful card. Only 664 unbound. Like I said, if I wasn't pulled in so many directions, I would just start buying all the Weavers. Love that card. Yeah, I would definitely say the Weaver is probably one of my top 5 favorite cards from Splinterlands. And then Legendary, 405 to 950. And then the gold foil, 95 cents to $1.49. 380 to $8.99. 17.45 to $44. And the legendaries, there are none. So that's it for Rebellion. Promo cards, of course, we went through in part 1. So let's just do this quick. I know the video is going long, but hey, we only do this once every 2 weeks. Got to spend the time. So Mana Warden, 24 cents for the common. That's another one of my top 5 favorite cards, Mana Warden. I don't know why. I just love that card. Don't know if it's the artwork or what. Some of the key takeaways I saw for this is Rick down under 20 bucks. You know, like I said, not that long ago, that was a $40, $50 card. $17.99. There's only 200, a little over 200 in circulation. And the gold I almost never see in the market because there's only 23 in existence. So I think that was the key one of these that I saw that was different. Was just he had really dropped. And Eleanor down to 17. And then your gold variants. Manaroth down to 160. So those are your promo. Okay, made it to the last tab. Well, we have to go through the land cards. Conclave Arcana Core. So, of course, tons of these are still available. 1 to 5 cents for the commons. 5 cents. The Archons have come down a little bit, a couple of them, but not much. Look at 50 cents for the Dragon, 64 for Water, but still, Bella's still around 90 cents. Kaylee is still around $1. The other two, $1.07, $1.30. So will the starter packs that are still available drive these down a little bit since they're unlimited? It hasn't happened yet. And we're looking at Archons, so let's take a look, guys. How many max levels are there? Not many at all. 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, and 1 for max level. And look at the prices, $64 up to $171 for Kalia. So these things are still pricey. Okay, epics, 16 cents to 50 cents. And then your legendary cards, $1.67 to $10.72 for Han V, the newest addition to the Market Watch. You can see also the print run here, or not print run, but how many are currently on the market. Okay, so now let's look at the gold foil version. So your gold foil commons start at 20 cents, all the way up to 65. Your gold rares start at 83, 85 cents, up to the Archon, 750 for Kalia. So we got to do it. Got to look at Archons. So Archons range for gold foil 360 to 750. Max level. Come on, everyone's opening packs. There's got to be a ton of these things. Max level, really? That's it? 2, 2, 2, 3, 1, 1. 83 to 165 bucks for a max gold foil. Okay, gold epics, 317 to 555. And then finally your gold legendary cards are just under $25. Up to 70 for the newly released Han V. It's our newest edition. Okay, so after the gold, now we start looking at the different variants. So your black foil commons start at 35, all the way up to 99. You can see there's just a few of each of these on the market. Rares, a lot less, 110 to 450. So you can see here, though, a lot of the archons are represented, but pretty pricey, 275 to 450. Epics, 199 to 450, just one or two of these on the market. And then finally, the black legendary cards, only one of each of these on the market. Okay, gold arcane commons, $14 to $130. That seems way too cheap for that card. That is a very good card. That card should be twice what it is. Yeah, I'd put it in there. Yeah, that should be a $25 to $30 card. That's very underpriced. Rares, 44 to 190. Or there we go. Kalia for 200. How many of those are there? 20. That's it. 25. Man, that's right. 25 for the rares for gold arcane. Incredibly rare. Whoops. Let's go to epics. There's only 3 available there. And then these are minted to 10. See, to me, just being from the sports card world, you got a card numbered to 10, it's usually in the thousands. Of course, I know there's a big difference between sports collecting that has millions of people collecting as opposed to Splinterlands, it just has a few thousand, but I just see there's such room for growth in a lot of these card prices. And then legendaries. I was surprised that there's actually 4 gold arcane legendaries on the market, including one of the newest cards, Han V, for 800. So these are limited to 5, and that is it. And I got to give a shout out to my wife, Fauna Mystica, for pulling that gold arcane legendary summoner. So grats to her. And let's see, next we go to see how many commons are there for the black foil arcane. There are 4 currently. $59.99 to $150. Is there 4 or 5? 4, okay. Rare, I've got Happy Kyoka. I don't think there was any other ones. Nope. No epics, no legendaries. Okay, so that's it for core. Let's just go right down the list. Promo cards. Went through the promos in part 1. Let's just kind of break this down so you guys can see it a little bit easier. So there's the common card, the Pickle. $6.75 on the market, 29 golds, and only 1 gold arcane. For your rares, got the Skinwalker. 3 versions available. And then Doldrus, common, just under $1. Rare, the gold, 771, 60 of them. There is a gold arcane for 285, and there is a black foil for 398. And then for your epics, you've got Cloveria, 243, 2050. There's 9 of them, and actually a gold arcane for 300. Tososhi, 270, gold foil for 40. And then for the legendary cards, you got Portioneer for 716, gold foil for 99, and look at that, black foil for 1450. Grammel the Hunger, 889, gold foil for 204.99. This really jumped in price. And then the black foil for 1,000. Yavanus was going to continue to drop, 2270. If you got it, sell it quick. And then the gold arcane, look at that beautiful card, limited to what, 5? So this is number 3 of 5. So grats to Instrumental. They're selling it for $1,900. And then Dark Autumn. He's up to 25 bucks, and there are no other foil versions currently available on the market. All right. We didn't do reward cards. Let's do the extra cards. So let's look at the commons. So you got Luckiest Long Shot, 37 cents, and then the cards that are in the reward chests. Shadowcomb Dusk Rose, 13 cents. Gold Foil, 320. Look at that beautiful Gold Arcane for 149. You got the rare, the Arena Fanatic, 22 cents. Gold Foil at 736. And then the other two rare cards that are in the chests as well, Runekeeper and Busy Beaver. Got some very nice foil versions on the market. So Runekeeper, 13 cents, 569 for the gold. Black foil for $299.99, and then Busy Beaver, 44 cents. Gold at $11.80. And look at these two cards. Gold Arcane for $329.78, and there are only 8 of these. And then a black. Is this black or Black Arcane? I think this is black for 2 of 5. Yeah, it's not shimmering, so that should be just the black foil. So extremely limited cards there. Then the Epic. Regular foil $298, gold $41.95, black foil for $1,000, and Black Arcane for $1,089. And then this one is a 1 of 3. This is mint number 3 of 3, but only 3 of those cards in existence. And then finally your legendary card, the only one available for Grix, is the regular foil for $39.50. All right, let's go to reward cards next. We're almost there, guys. So regular foil commons, 2 to 5 cents. Rares, 8 cents to 21 cents. Your epics, 38 cents to $1.19. And then finally your legendary cards, $2.60 to $9. I got lucky and got this card earlier today at my end of season rewards. I had enough glint to get a legendary. Did not have that card. You can see I now own it. You see I'm still missing a few of the legendary cards. And then your gold foils, which these are unbound and sellable, 15 cents to 27 cents for the common, 55 cents to $2 for the rare, $3.19 to $24.50 for the epic, and then your legendary, $20 to $55. Now the different foil versions. Black foil, $19.50 to $41 for the common, $40 to $2.10 for the rare, epics $70 to $200. You can see only 1 or 2 listed of most of those. And then finally your legendaries, only one of each of those are currently on the marketplace, $299 to just under $500. Then your gold arcane, $15 to $60 for the commons, $21 to $398 for the rare, $69 to $98.77 for the epic. And there are some legendaries. $142 to $239. And then finally your black arcane commons, $49 to $99. $110 to $200 for the rare. $220 and $250 for the 2 epics. And then finally your legendary, and this is a 1 of 1 still, Syrah, 1 of 1 for $1,300. Okay, and last but certainly not least, we got to get to Escalation. The newest set, love the set. Such awesome cards. 2 to 13 cents for the commons. Look at just the damage that some of these things do right out of the gate. Rares, 7 to 19 cents. Epics, 48 to $1.85. And then your legendary cards, 284 to 604. Gold cards, gold commons 36 cents to $1.71. Rares $1.31 to $2. Epics $8.38 to $16. And then finally your gold legendaries start at, look at the price of this. Gold legendary, $61 is the cheapest, up to $110. Okay, next we have the black foil cards. Your commons, $69 to $159. $189 to $345 for the rare. Only 2 epics for sale, $950 and $1100. And then legendaries, there's actually 4. $899, $1500, and $2800. And then for your arcane versions, the commons, 21 to 105. And then 45 to 450 for the rare. 215 to 225 for the epics. And there is one legendary, Akora the Devourer. This is numbered to 5. This is number 4 or 5 for $450. And then finally your black arcane. Commons 90 to 220. Rares 250 to 650. No epics. And look at this. Okora the Devourer, Michael B, 1 of 1. Big shout out, big congrats to Michael B. Look at that card, a 1 of 1. Don't understand why it says circulation of 2. There's only 1. There can be only 1. Is that it, guys? Are we done already? Man, that hour flew, didn't it? I hope the hour flew. I hope you guys weren't bored to death. But like I said, we only get to do this once every 2 weeks. So that is the card deep dive for the Splinterlands Card Market Watch number 56. Once again, today is March 15th, 2026. If you guys like the content, would like to support the channel, shout out to all the channel members on Buy Me a Coffee. I have membership there. $2 is just the basic membership, just to kind of help support the channel, say thank you. I do give all members random card giveaways from my pack openings and some cards from my personal collection. And then the silver tier, the $4 a month members, you have the ability to get a personalized video once a month. Once I'm done with this video, I'm going to start working on the one for Doombot. He asked for a video based on the new Splinterlands brackets that are going to be going live soon. What would be my idea for a good silver level deck based on the new bracket system? So I will be giving my input and thoughts on that and putting that video together very shortly. So once again, thank you to Doombot, KGM Jam, DeFizz, Bolts85, and the newest member. I just had another person join, VT Mac Guru. Thank you for the membership. He actually got a membership for an entire year, so thank you very much. Macy as well, so I think I got everyone in there. Also, thank you to Bronze Dragon, who sent me a tip when I first joined. So once again, shout out. Thank you so much to all the channel members. Thank you to all the people here that watch the videos, support the channel, leave comments. Just keeps me going. You know, I like seeing positive feedback and just feedback in general from this awesome community. So shout out to all you guys. I'm going to take a break, let my voice rest for a little bit, get to work on Doombot's video. Until next time, stay the course, keep on forging, and more important than anything, especially on a Sunday, have some fun. Take care.